Morning guys, so it's day 2 on the bathroom. Today the priority is this, but unfortunately it is absolutely hammering it down outside with rain. So as a temporary, just to get us so we can get done, especially the plaster's here tomorrow. So we need to get this soil pipe out of the way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it as high as we can, and we're going to pump it full of expanding foam, just to stop any water getting in from the rain. And then we can concentrate on this end, adjust it all, make it so that works. We've got to, they're not an issue because we can cut them and bend them back to the wall, but we do have to get a soil pipe across, so we will be cutting along the joist here to adjust all this pipe work. That board's got to come out across there, that's all got to come out, and this one here is going to come out today. So there's going to come out across there and there, so we can get all the pipe work done. Chase in the wall there, a couple of chases in the wall there for the radiator. Get all these pipes up and out the wall, makes life a lot easier then. And then we've got new boards to go in. We reboard the whole floor with new, but obviously we need to be able to work. So by cutting across there, we'll have this middle section where I can still comfortably sit and do what I need to do. So that's the plan going forward. So without further ado, I'm going to multi-tool this out as high as I can and as low as I can, and then I've got another tool which will get me even lower. So let's get stuck in, see you in a sec. So I've got a few things a bit asked about face. The bath's not going where I thought it was, which is not an issue. It's not a problem at all. So I'll give you an update of what we're up to. So we've taken the boards up there. We've got our chases in for our rad centres. Now we've got bloody 3 joists there. So I've got a notch through 3 joists. Got to extend that one through and up into there, but it's so close to the wall, I'm going to have to do like a little kick and just bring it over a bit more towards that brace, and then that way that I can get a screw behind in the new floor straight up there. That one then got to be extended through, across, and then up into there. That's going to be end of day situation because I've got to drain down. I'm concentrating on this bit at the minute. We've got to lower that waste a bit more, and we're going to bring a new new T out of that, and new boss out through that little noggin with a 40mm all the way to here. It's got to come up because the bath's going to be going this way. So the bath's going here. It's only 150. Comes through out there, toilet at the end, and it's got I'll show you the bath later. And it's 780 wide. So our bath's there. We've got a little gap, and then we've got our 600 vanity there. So we've got to bring a hot, a cold, and a 32mm waste up there. Luckily, if I do the 32 through the couple of joists that are there, it means I can keep the hole minimal, and I can just put a T somewhere down here. So that's all stuff I've got to figure out yet, but I've got to make sure I bring the... So what I'm thinking of doing is bringing the waste right to the back and up. And then that way then, because I'm 20mm off for the actual bath waste. And this is going to be a nightmare to figure out. I've really got to think about this. I'll show you later because the customer's in a meeting where the bath is. But our waste on the bath is literally there. So I need a shallow trap. And this is like one of those baths that goes in the middle of a bathroom. But it's designed to go in a corner. But you've got to lift it up, so you have to have a flexi on it. So I need to be able to somehow, I'm not sure how yet, I might come across, put a T there and bring it up in the back corner. That way I can put flexi to it from that corner. Then I can tee it down and bring it up here in a 30 with a reducer. So yeah, it's quite tricky. It stopped raining, so hopefully we get all this done and we can get that tiles on the roof replaced and get the ceiling patched up. There's a lot I've got to get done today because the plaster's obviously here tomorrow. So I'll stop mucking about and I've got to get stuck in. See you in a bit. Okay guys, so trying to get the waste sorted out. Still got to do the work on the pipework. It's only 10:30, so we're not doing badly. Most of the floor is up now. So we've trimmed our waste down to the height we want. We've used this little tool in our drill to just go inside and cut that. That's a solvent weld. It isn't glued yet. Obviously we've cut these sides off because these are sealed sides, as you can see. But they do have inputs, even so you can drill out. We don't need those. So we've just got the one. So we've come out, we've drilled through here, and all I've done is I've done the length I want here. I've had a little piece in, I made sure it's plumb, drew a circle, and then I've just drilled my hole through. And that's going to come through. I'm going to cable tie that to there, like that. So it's going to be up there nice and high. And then we've done that, and then we've marked a hole there and drilled through from this side, and then we can come through from the other side with a hole cutter. We just got to get through these two joists. So what I'll do, it's going to be tricky to get through in one piece. I don't know how we're going to do it yet, if I can even do it in one piece, but I've got to get through there, and I don't want to put a big notch in. I'd rather have a hole cut. So that's what we're doing now. So leave that bit with me. I've got to get my head around that yet. So our waste is in. This is really high, but I like to have it higher than I just cut it after the fact. Yes, we got to make good round it. I've cable tied it just to the floor for the minute, just to keep that full while the glue goes off. I had to put a coupler in. We got our reducer in there. I've gone, because that's the longest length, I put the swept part of the T there. Obviously the bath is going to be more directly into it. But yeah, so that'll be our bath. There'll be an elbow on that. And then we'll have a flexi that goes into our waste. Goes cable tied it to there. And I put a cable tie there as well, just to stop that from sagging. And that's all glued. We've glued the bottom branch coupler in, but I haven't glued the top part in yet because I may need to raise that up a bit more. I may need to get another bit of pipe and make that a bit higher. So I've left that for now, but that's not an issue because this is now solid. We can glue that after the fact, get my hand in there and give that a glue afterwards, make sure I've got all that at the right height, because then it'd just be a straight coupler straight into that. So that's neither here nor there. It might be fine. I could probably just get an offset coupler just to get that extra bit of distance, because I've allowed for the floor, this floor, but I forgot to allow matting and tile. So that may need to come up a little bit more, but I'm not worried about that. We've got to cut that and put an ISO on it, and then that'll be that done. And now all I've got to do is cut into these. One's hot, one's cold. This one's the cold. So that one just needs a T down, across, under here, and then up to the right. And then obviously we've got the hot, which is this one. This has got to go, that's got to go. So we will cut these out, and then we'll readdress this back in with a new bit of pipe. And then that'll be that done as well. So that's my next job, is to get the hot and cold into there. I've also got to tear it off across here. So it's quite tricky what I've got to do here now. So what I might do is do a couple of notches there. This is off centre. I didn't want to go through another joist. So that's the edge of my cabinet. So this is fine. I can just put a slight angle bend into the waste for the basin. So that's neither here nor there. And it actually gives me easy access to the hot and cold ISOs when they're in place. Because the cold needs to come up this side and the hot needs to come up that side. So there'll only be one notch. So probably what I'm probably going to do is come across here quite far out, sort of centre of my joist, so that way I'm not going to be screwing through it with the boards, just off centre and then up. So that's my next job, is to get all this bit figured out. All fun and games. It's time consuming, unfortunately, but once I've done this side and the waste and the toilet will be done, that'll be it in the bathway. Then it's just the heating pipes to sort out them. Okay guys, so as you can see, I've already pulled a 45 bend and a 90 straight out of the wall. sorry, a 90-degree bend, sorry. No, it's whatever. And I brought it up. That's my hot. I haven't connected it yet, but I've got to do the same. And if you want to know how to pull a bend like that, basically you're going to measure roughly the distance you want to where your bend's going to be. So I've got roughly 480. So I'm going to mark 480 on my pipe, which is there. So I've marked 480. That's the back of my bend. So when I put it in my bender, that's the back of my bend there. So I'm going to line that up on the monument to the first mark. That's where my bend starts. So that'll be the back of my bend. So if I do it right, I bend this to make 45 or 90, whatever you want to call it. Too much of a rush to worry about it. If you cut it right, you should get perfect bend every time, which is exactly where I want it. So I'm going to clip this pipe to there like I have on that one, and then I'm going to bring my cold up, and that's perfect. And then I can just put a couple of nail clips on my joists. Happy days. But that's how you pull a 90. So your back of your bend is your length. God, that was hard work. But yeah, we're all done, but we have come across a problem. Excuse me, guys. Dirty camera. We have got one problem, and I will show you that to you in a minute, but just for now, we've got all our hot and colds done now, so we've got them up the wall. I haven't done the bit out the wall for the mixer yet, but we've got a hot, cold and waste. Now I've got a 60mm void at the back of the vanity, and I've got 60mm there now to the pipes, but obviously that doesn't include tile and adhesive. So by the time the tile and adhesive, they will be tighter to the wall, and then they will tuck behind the vanity perfectly. So that's all perfect. Like I said, the bath waste is just going to come out flexy because it's one of those ones that just sits on. We've got to fully tile everything first. I've just got to bring the 150 bits out of there. But yeah, it all comes around here. It all tees off, down and up, and then it all relinks back to the toilet and then back down to the downstairs hot. Now, when I was doing this hot pipe, the connection, there was a lot of movement on this pipe, which worried me, so I did a pressure test, and it's not holding pressure, and I've gone downstairs in the little downstairs toilet, and behind the cistern, low level, is a epoxy compression joint, and obviously where we've been wiggling this around, it's loosening that compression. So let me just take you downstairs. So what we're going to have to do, because the epoxy compression joint, you won't see it, it is literally right down there. Now I'm going to have to take this out, which means taking this off, disconnecting that, which isn't an issue, trying to get my hand around the back of this to disconnect this, and then lifting this out the way. So I'm going to have to empty all the water out of this, get this out, get down there, tighten it up, do another compression test, and then rebuild all this. So that's my next job. But that's why you don't put compression joints in boxing where you can't get to the bloody things, because if this is the issues you come across, they're a leak waiting to happen. You never can put compression joints in walls. End of. So anyway, that's my next job. So I'm going to go down with the wet vac and get on with that while Ricky has a tidy up in here. Obviously, I've still got to do my heating pipes, still got to come out the floor. We've still got that to patch up. But to be fair, at the moment, I can put a temporary board down for the plaster if I need to, because I need to prioritise what I've got done. But yeah, the waste is all done. Wastes are in, hot and colds are in. So at least I broke the back of it. It's only 1 o'clock, but I haven't to muck about with that, because that's got to be done before I turn the water back on. It means it might cause me a delay getting other stuff done. Plus I've run out of copper, because I wasn't expecting this much of a faff. But anyway, we must get on. See you in a bit. Well, that wasn't fun. Someone did not want this to come out. It is silicone, literally to within an inch of its life. But I need to get to that right there. You see it? That compression joint. That's what I need to get to. Tighten up. And then I'm going to isolate this. That's all loose as well. Mind you, that's on a push fit, that's fine. So I should better leave this off. I might have to get a new system. Anyway, let's see if I can get on that and get that tightened up. Okay, after scratching my hands and stabbing myself numerous times on all these screws that are sticking out, I think I've managed to get a bit on it to tighten it up. Obviously I won't know until I turn it on, but I think looking at the state of the toilet and that down the back there, it's not good at all. But there's not a lot I can do about that. It's been working this long, it seems pretty dry, but I think I might have to get a new system for this. Let's get the water turned on and see if we've got any leaks. Okay, so we're looking good. It doesn't appear to be any leaks down there. I've checked it and checked it. I'm going to leave it open. We're all good upstairs. Ricky's going to lift the floor up so we can get the new flooring down. We're going to provisionally lay where the old radiator pipes are. I'm not going to start draining down. I'm stressed enough as it is. I can do that Friday, lift that bit of floor up, adjust those pipes, and then we're good to start getting on with the rest of it. I can make good any of that sort of stuff, so that's not an issue. So I'm just going to prioritise. Now that I'm happy there's no leaks under the floor, you can get the floor down, and then I can get into that corner, turn the water back off, and just get the 2 feeds out the wall for the hot and the cold, for the mixer for the bath, and then happy days, we're good to go. So anyway, let's get back upstairs and get stuck in. Alright, so we've got the floor up, so now we're going to go downstairs. We're going to cut some boards to the right size, and we can start from that side, work our way through. Just going to cut a hole out for that, cut a notch out for those nose. Going to get one cut for here, so we've got somewhere so we can walk in, and we'll start there, and then we'll just start working our way across, get all this floor back down, get that ceiling patched up. At least then the plasterer can get on. Oh, and I've got to get those 2 tails just out the wall and recapped, but that I can do once the floor's down. So the priority now is floor, those two there and that up there, and then we can crack on. Okay, floor is down. Two pieces have got to come back up for us to do the heating pipes tomorrow. But it is now 3 o'clock, so I've got to get my 2 towels out the wall so the plaster can crack on, and then happy days. So flooring is all down. I'll say those two have got to go there, and that hasn't been glued in yet, so that can come off and the plaster can make good the wall. But yeah, flooring's down. I've wasted out for the bath, my 2 feeds for the basin and the waste. So there's a bit of plaster in there, that to replaster. We've patched up the ceiling. Obviously that will need plastering. So I'll drain down, I'm just going to bring my towels out, and then we're good to go. We're looking good. And then on Friday, obviously I'll lift these 2 boards up. We'll address these 2 pipes, get them in and done. And then happy days, we can crack on, get some more bits done. See you in a bit. Okay, so that's me, I'm done. It's nearly 4 o'clock. I'm not going to drain down this late in the afternoon with the risk of having problems and it going on till late. So I'd rather come back Friday after the plastering's been done and get the heating pipes done, and then that's the last of it. I can patch up those walls. We can do the waste pipe on the ceiling in the roof, get that sorted out, and then crack on, start lining up some tiles. I love this bit of kit. I absolutely love this bit of kit. It's perfect 150 centres for your pipes. Helps keep everything nice, level and square. Just clip on there. You can bond that up around it, and then I'll finish it off tomorrow. So he's got that to make good, that to make good, the seal to make good, and then that and the ceiling to plaster. That'll be the plasterer tomorrow, and then we're back Friday doing other bits and pieces. So I've got to pick up some materials. I need some more pipe, so I've run out. Yeah, not a lot. We didn't glue the waste in because that way then he can get right down behind with his bonding. Make sure that's all nice and flat and true. Shaver point's got to come off and be changed. But that's another story. We can pull that out. It's only wired to the lighting circuit. I think we've got to drop another one down, but I've also got to drop a cable down. So that switch is going, so I've got to actually take that out tonight. I forgot about that. That's got to go. Or just drop it, and we just drop that light as well. Quickly now, just drop them and then you can plaster it, and then I'll just pull it in and make good the ceiling. Because I meant to put a new cable in and I haven't had time. And then we've got another cable coming down there somewhere for the mirror. But I'm happy to do a chase and just a bit of bonding on stuff like that myself. Don't need him to plaster that. Here's what it is. Let's get these lights down quick. Try that again. So now I've taken the light off the ceiling, you can plaster behind it, and I've dropped the light switch. So he can get behind that now and he can plaster that, and then we'll do the chase and drop a new wire down and we'll bond that before we tile. So that's a job I can do Friday. That job there, we'll see that, and the bits and pieces I said about earlier. My ring doorbell. But yeah, that's us done for today. So don't forget guys, like, share, follow, hit that subscribe button and notification icon. And if you've got any questions or you want me to do specific videos on anything, just hit me up in the comments. See you soon.